Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. I'm Esther Perez, and if you're new here, don't forget to like and subscribe. I am doing the 1 year reflection since our destination wedding, and for today's video I wanted to talk about what went right, because I've been talking a lot about things that were wrong, things that we regret, and so for this video I wanted to talk through everything that we got right when it comes to our destination wedding. So some really great decisions that we made was, it's always going to be like top of our list, but getting married in Cancun. We got married in Cancun April 12th of 2025, and we had 65 people go to our wedding. It was at Majestic Elegance Resort, and I would say just in general, picking Cancun as our wedding spot was one of the best decisions we made. Because we picked Cancun, I would say like our next thing that we did so right was we were able to stick to our budget. Our budget was $20,000, and having a destination wedding in Cancun was beyond easy to have for $20,000. There are so many different packages if you start looking into weddings in Cancun with different resorts, where they have packages for like 20 people, packages for like elopements, and so like our specific package, we had like 65 people, and like we knew we wanted to have a whole big event. We had a welcome party for the guests when they arrived on like that Thursday. We had a rehearsal dinner, private dinner on Friday. We had the wedding on Saturday with like a cocktail hour. It's an open bar the whole day. We had photo hour, we had a photo booth, we had a mariachi, we had a magician at one point, like, and a churro bar. There are just so many different things, and so I cannot stress enough that we got it so right when it came to picking Cancun for our wedding and then staying within budget. If you're someone that's wedding planning and you really want to be able to reflect a year later and seem so happy about it, I definitely suggest like staying on your budget. There's no worse way, I think, to start a marriage than to be financially in the hole. So create a budget together and stick to that budget together. As I've mentioned, we had so many different events, and I think one thing that we always talk about with other people that went to our wedding was how cool of an experience it was. It wasn't just a one-day wedding. It was a week long, full of activities, hanging out, playing games, drinking, being entertained by the magician or mariachi. Like, it was just a whole experience. And I think our thought process going into the wedding was like, yeah, we don't want it to be just a one-day high. Like, we want the whole week to feel like this really cool thing. And I am so happy that we delivered on that. And it's something that we can still talk about to this day with people that went to the wedding. They always mention how much fun it was, and we love to hear about that. It's gonna sound odd, but something we did right was keeping our guest list the number that it was. So we invited almost everyone, and we knew inviting everyone wouldn't be able to go because it's a destination wedding. So we ended up with only about 65 people going, and I think having any number below 100 is just such a better thing for the price point. To put it into perspective, you're paying for plates, and I've seen some plates go for like $25 a person. Our plates were $110 per person. So we spent $7,000 just on the food for the wedding, and I really think like that 65 number was great. If we had like, you know, a huge wedding of like 300 people, I don't even think it would have felt as intimate as it felt. It was just such a lovely time. I felt like parties on like both sides were just like talking, hanging out. We had a big group chat in WhatsApp where everyone was like telling each other like where the next party is. And so I would say just be really mindful of your guest count when it comes to like the experience you're trying to create. The multiple day celebrations is something that we got right so well, because like I said, from the get-go, we knew we wanted it to feel like more than just a one-day activity. If they're flying in, you know, across the country, it should be a week's worth of fun. And so the multiple days that we had events, it felt so great. Not once did it feel like, oh, there's too many activities. It felt like perfect. It just felt just right. And it's something we look back at so fondly when like we tell people like, yeah, we had a magician the week of our wedding, and The magician was great. Like, I have videos of like them just really wowing the crowd, and I think just both of us being on the same page when it came to the experience was something that we got right completely. I touched on this a little bit in the last video, but I think one thing that we did really right was that we accepted that it's a destination wedding and not everyone will be able to attend. I think accepting that is something really big to do before fully committing to a destination wedding. I think if you're in the early stages of, you know, getting engaged and thinking like, do you want to have a destination wedding? Do you want to have a wedding in your hometown? Do you want to have a wedding where most of your guests are? I think those are all really good questions to ask yourself. And I think a secondary question to ask yourself when it comes to destination weddings is, are you okay with not everyone attending? And we were really open in having those conversations. We both knew our love for travel. We both knew how strict we would be on our budget. And we both had the same vision of not just having a wedding, but having a full experience for everyone going. And it just really felt right for us to have a destination wedding, and it felt okay to accept that not everyone will be able to go. So I think that's something that we did so right. I think it's definitely a conversation you and your partner have to have. A destination wedding isn't right for everyone, but it was so right for us. I think if I could leave you with anything else that we did right for our wedding, and something that I hope you do right if you're planning out your wedding, is to just really prioritize the two of you's like happiness together and what do you both want out of this. Really thinking of it as you're a unit and how do you both get the happy outcome that you want from this experience. I think prioritizing yourselves as a couple for the wedding just really helps down the road after the wedding, because it's not just, you know, a wedding and that's that. Now you have a, you know, marriage that you have to really water and take care of. It's, you know, its own little flower. And so I think if you start out your marriage, which is on your wedding or leading up to your wedding, as prioritizing your guys', you know, overall happiness together, I think that is such a good formula so that you can have a very happy life together even after the big wedding. I've said it before in other videos, but you know, being on the same page about what do you want out of this wedding? What is the experience going to be like? What will make you both happy? What is your budget? You know, the worst thing you want to do is go into this marriage uneasy because of how the wedding went down. Maybe you went way past the budget. Maybe the wedding was not at all how you wanted. Maybe the planning just really was one-sided. I just can imagine that'd be a really awful way to start a marriage. So make sure you are thinking about both of you and your happiness when it comes to planning out. And I think you'll be able to reflect 1 year later of how well it went and how you did it so right. So those are the things we did right at our destination wedding. I feel like I yapped the whole time, but it was such a good experience, and I feel so good being able to reflect 1 year later on how we did the wedding. And I think, you know, people randomly telling us like how great the wedding was just like further reiterates that it was the best decision for us, that we did everything the way we wanted it to be done. And I think if you're planning a wedding, I am crossing my fingers for you that it goes exactly how you both want it to. Weddings are supposed to be really fun, a happy time, and so I hope yours is. So if this has been helpful, don't forget to like and subscribe, and leave any comments if you have any questions about this video or the other videos I've made in this destination wedding planning reflection series. So thanks for watching.